Okay, this episode I'm gonna go into buying a used travel trailer. The tips and tricks, how to do an inspection properly. Um, it's like buying a home. They're very complicated, and most people have no idea what they're doing, and they don't have a checklist and everything else. But it's just like if you bought a home, most people get a home inspector and he's trained into what to look for, and see what's working, what's not working. And the same thing with an RV. I have a 16-point check system, inspection, 16 things that I check for. The average person buying a travel trailer, they have one. It's called cosmetics. Does it look nice? You know, and they don't check all the important things and the stuff that's going to cost you an arm and a leg if you buy a used trailer that no warranty. I recommend that buying a used trailer with no warranty, private sale, buying from an individual, because the dealerships, they're ridiculous. Okay, my trailer, the dealerships were asking about 12,000. It's a used trailer. They were asking around 12 grand for my trailer. It's a 22 footer, extreme light. When it was about 12 years old when I bought it, but it was in immaculate condition inside and outside. I mean, it had some wear and tear on the outside, but the inside was immaculate because there was only two owners in that 12 years. The first owner used it a couple of times, and the second owner, who I bought it from, they only used it twice in all the years they had it. They just bought it thinking they'd like to go camping. And they'd go camping once or twice a year for like a week. So it had no wear and tear. I mean, it was in immaculate, perfect condition, not even a scratch on the inside of this RV. So anyway, I shopped around. I saw dealer prices of around 12 grand. It turns off people when they look at these used trailer, these places selling trailers, the dealerships, and they see, oh, this one is 75,000 and this one's $125,000 and stuff. And all of a sudden people say, well, I can't afford that. And they start looking into converting a van or buying a cargo trailer and converting it over to camping and living in, because they can't afford a travel trailer. Well, you can afford a travel trailer if you don't buy from a dealership. They're just a ripoff. This one was listed for $12,000 used, and I got it for $4,500, private sale. I shopped around. I looked in the local newspapers, and then I looked in the local Craigslist, and I saw it listed for $5,000. It went over. I said, wow. I went inside and I said, this thing hasn't been used. When they told me they only used it twice, I said, I believe it. I mean, you look at the tires, look at the the wear on the treads on your tires, on the tires. Okay, when you do an inspection, and look at the date code. See how old the tires. It had original tires on it. When I looked at the treads, there was no wear on them. So I know the people were being honest, and that they only took it out twice. And the previous owner kept it, they said, inside a chicken coop or something, I don't know. So it never was used. So that's what I recommend. I don't recommend buying a travel trailer from somebody that's living in it full time, because then it's going to have a lot of wear and tear. But you can buy an older trailer, a 12-year-old trailer like I did, and everything has not been used. All the important things. And I'm going to go through the 16-point check. Also, look online for your something like the Kelley Blue Book for RVs before you purchase anything. You want to see what they're saying it's worth in various conditions. Also, I recommend buying RV insurance through your vehicle insurance company. It's very little. I paid around $50 a year, and somebody hit me in the front end. And if you've seen some of my other videos, you'll see how there was some damage in the front end. They changed lanes and swerved into me. They said they got cut off, and they took out the front of my trailer while I was towing it. Put me into really bad whiplash. Anyway, the insurance people had appraisers come over, and they appraised the damage for that little section there at like $4,800. So I got the $4,800 and I went to Walmart, or I went to Home Depot, and I bought a sheet of plywood. I cut 2 sheets out. One on for the outside where the hole was, and one on the inside of the RV, and I screwed them together and caulked it and painted it, and it cost me I think $85, and I had a check for $4,800, and I only paid $4,500 for the trailer. So, in a way, I mean, I came close to death in a way. I was doing 60 miles an hour, and I got hit and put me in a whiplash with my Jeep over here. Went swerving back and forth, and it was very hairy, and I was shaking for like a half an hour from adrenaline flow. But anyway, okay, let me go through the 16 points real quick because I only got 9 minutes left. Okay, you want to call the owner up before you buy a used trailer and have them turn on the refrigerator the day before you show up, and put in an ice cube tray in the freezer compartment. So you want to check that. Make sure your refrigerator's working. Okay, also have them turn on the hot water heater at least an hour before you arrive. Okay, you're going to be checking for hot water out of the sinks and the shower head. And then, obviously a 12-volt battery has to be hooked up before you arrive. A propane tank has to be hooked up before you arrive. You've got to check all these different systems out. You're also going to be checking, after you check the water, hot water out of the sinks and shower head, check running water to your toilet, so see if it's flushing properly. You're going to want to turn on both the stove, all your burners, if it's a 3-burner stove or whatever, like I have, and then you want to turn on your furnace. Make sure they're working. So obviously a propane tank has to be hooked up. So make sure the owner, you ask them, is it hooked up to propane now? And if not, then bring a propane tank over. Don't buy a used travel trailer unless these things have been done. Okay? Unless you can test out. These are the most expensive things. Don't walk around a trailer like the average person walks around a trailer and looks at cosmetic things. That's the least of your worries. You can fix cosmetic things. A little paint, a little caulking, whatever. You don't want to be even thinking about cosmetics. You want to be thinking about the expensive things that might need to be replaced and repaired by a qualified technician. Okay, so you want to check the 120 volt AC power. So you have to ask the owner also before you come over to hook up, shore hookup. 120 volt AC, so you can check your electrical outlets. And you need to bring a voltmeter. It's very simple to use a voltmeter, but if you don't know how to use one, you could just bring a lamp, a regular lamp or something, and plug it in. Just see if the outlets are working. They also come with, most travel trailers come with a converter. That's what changes 120 volt AC to 12 volt DC to charge your batteries. I would recommend checking that out. Okay, on top you've got an AC unit. You're going to want to turn that on and make sure it's blowing cold air. That big thing up there, that's 15,000 BTU. Even on a small trailer like this, it's got it pretty much comes standard most RVs. I don't care if it's $120,000 or $4,500 like I paid. You're going to get the best refrigerator, best AC unit, everything. So inexpensive doesn't mean cheap. It's pretty standard, the equipment they use on the $150,000 travel trailers versus $15,000 one, okay, or $20,000 one. Okay, you want to check your 12 volt DC systems, and that would be check your batteries, the battery or battery bank. I would, if you test it with the voltmeter again, under 12.1 volts, there's something wrong with that battery, or it needs to be charged. And I would also bring a load tester, battery load tester, which is I have, and check it after it's fully charged to see if it's a bad battery or not. You want to check, make sure obviously your water pump's working. If your faucets are working, that's another thing in the system on these RVs. You got to check all your 12 volt lighting. Check all your lights. The ceiling lights are all 12 volts typically. Check your breaker box. Make sure there's no blown fuses. You're going to walk around and look for body rot on the outside and the inside and on the roof. And that's not a problem if you see body rot. It's usually never a safety issue. It's not something you really have to worry about if you see body rot on an old trailer. It's pretty common. You know, a little caulking, a little paint, piece of plywood, what have you. You know, cover it up. It's not a big deal. As a matter of fact, I met somebody last year at a beautiful brand new Airstream. And they got $25,000 off a brand new Airstream because there was a hailstorm and it had some dents in it. Well, I would have snagged up a deal like that any day. I wouldn't care about a few dents on the outside. You can always cover it up with aluminum or whatever. And 25 grand off. So anyway, don't worry about a little body rot. It's not a big issue. It's something you can usually fix pretty cheap. If you're not looking for brand new condition, you want to pay brand new condition from a dealership, go to it. They say that you get a warranty, but then when you go back a week later saying this isn't working and that isn't working, they say, well, we're backed up 2.5 months. Bring it in 2.5 months from now and we'll fix the roof vent or whatever it is. That's what you get when you deal with the dealership. You think you're going to pay out the cahoots, even on a used trailer. I would have paid more than double what I paid. Plus, they're not going to fix anything. I mean, your whole summer is shot. If you bought the trailer in, say, May or June, they come back and say, well, bring it in 6 weeks from now. Well, your summer is almost gone. The camping season's almost gone. So, don't think you're safe by doing that. Okay, also, they come with awnings. Check it, make sure it works, if it has any tears. Check the roof. Okay, I'm running out of time, so I'm going to have to go through the rest of this really quick. So you want to bring a ladder and check out the roof. You're checking for cracked caulking, chips and cracks on all the roof vents. Refrigerator, air conditioner, the typical air vents, and the sewer vents on top of the RVs. You want to check those for cracks and chips. Usually you only get about 15 years out of a lot of them because they're not UV protected plastic. Okay, check for body rot, spongy areas on top and inside. But like I say, it's not a big deal typically to fix those things yourself. Okay, your steel A-frame. You want to check if there's any deep rust or pitting. A little rust is okay, but just look for if there's a lot of deep rust, like it was in a flood or something. Check your tires. They have date codes on them. If they're over 5 years old, you're going to have them replaced. I don't care if the treads are good, like they were on mine, and there's no body rot on them. Replace them. I only paid around $250 to $300 to replace all of mine. Okay. So as far as the cosmetic, be concerned with cosmetic appearances. They all used trailers are going to have sore spots. Okay. You can fix that stuff yourself with a little paint and a little, polish or whatever. Okay. This is Eagle Eric signing off.